Hey everyone, it's Braulio Rosa with the Broward County Bar Association's Broward Bar Buzz. And today it's my honor to have one of our partners, Kristy Bird with Consilio. They've joined us this year and they provide a lot of great services. And so we're going to learn more about it today. Hey, Kristy, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
So let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about what Consilio provides, what kind of services, and how they can help our members.
Sure. So we are a global legal services company, mostly technology related. So we cover everything on the discovery side, from forensic collections to analysis, data processing, hosting, project management. We provide managed document review, which is really helpful when folks might not have the deep bench of resources if a litigation matter comes up where they have to review a large amount of documents. We also have an ELS department, we call it Enterprise Legal Services. And so that entails flexible talent, permanent placements, all sorts of legal staffing, permanent and temporary placements. Basically, any sort of legal position you can think of that you need filled, whether temporarily or permanently, we can help with that.
Wow.
We have advisory services also in that arm of our business, anywhere from consulting on CLMs, contract life management systems, e-billing systems. This is probably more geared towards a corporate legal department, so folks might have, clients that could use those types of services. Like I said, consulting, e-billing systems, implementing legal hold systems, anything technology related on the legal operations side, we can handle that as well. So yeah, that's a broad overview of the types of services that we typically handle.
So some of the products that you have, would that facilitate for smaller firms that kind of be more efficient at what they do?
Mm-hmm.
And if so, can you kind of maybe talk a little bit about some of that software that might or help them?
Sure. So mostly it would deal with e-discovery software. We're technology agnostic, so we have our own software called Sightline that handles a lot of smaller matters, subpoenas. It's really good for self-service for a smaller firm. We also, if there's a preferred e-discovery platform, we can also help implementing certain ones at a firm. And so, for instance, if, firms have the resources and the cases that they need to go through a good amount of data, there are a lot of different options where we can, help out in regard to providing technology and support if needed. But the goal is to get somebody operating those systems themselves in a self-service environment.
So often lawyers, being a lawyer is one thing. Being a businessman or woman is a whole nother aspect, right? It's something that you don't learn in law school. And often billing is one of those difficult things.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say, I'm going to earn this amount of money, but then you got to go chase it.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a type of software that would help implement that?
Yeah, so that would be on our advisory side. So we have consultants that could meet with folks to talk about, their pain points, their interests in what they want to accomplish, right? How could technology provide a better, more efficient way to do things? So for instance, legal billing, there are a bunch of different softwares that could help in that regard. So like the first step would be talking to a consultant and seeing, where the gaps are, where we can help fill in those gaps and help the firm be more efficient, because not every situation is the same, right? So it's a consultative approach we take to everything. And, we want to find the best solution or product that could help that person and what they need.
And along those same lines, I've found I have served on the committees that like review complaints and that sort of thing. And one of the big complaints that lawyers get often is, my lawyer never contacted me. So I know that there's software out there that maybe sets up little notices for you, and not just Outlook. I mean, I know I use Outlook, but more efficient programs, I'm guessing, that would link up with the whole case and everything. So can you talk a little bit about that?
So there are different softwares that could set up reminders depending on what the case posture is. And so you would put in certain data points, and along the way it would, okay, if this juncture and we didn't have this solution, XYZ, we reach out, or, just reach out in general. So you can set up those touch points ahead of time and adjust them as needed as things go on. But then it's, again, it's not reinventing the wheel, but making things run more efficiently, so that it's just like takes out that human component of having to have that additional task on their plates.
Yeah, absolutely. Because when you're dealing with
Yes.
buku clients and your staff and everything, it's easy to lose track of when you have deadlines and you need to contact a certain person and so forth. So to that point, you are a lawyer. You're barred in New York and New Jersey, you were telling me. So
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how that helps you help the lawyers that are receiving service from your Consilio.
Yeah. So it helps tremendously because I have that legal background, and I practiced for a couple of years coming out of law school before I fell into legal technology. So I understand all different types of law. I understand the different phases of the matters. I understand, motion practice and how there's certain aspects of a matter, or on the other side, if it's more transactional or contract related, I have that background and that mindset to know, all right, if an attorney is dealing with this type of matter, or they're in a litigation, they should think about using these tools or these processes or these workflows that'll help them achieve what they can do, just quicker and faster. Everybody, AI is the latest buzz, right? But we've been using AI in things for years. And a lot of times folks have been using them and not even realizing they're using it. The latest is generative AI. So, you prompt the system and it'll come back with an output. But we've already been using AI in a lot of things. So I like to explain it that way too. So if you think about all the things that you need to do as an attorney, depending on the type of matter or case you're dealing with or problem you're trying to solve for your clients, think about how much more you could accomplish if you instituted certain tools or workflows or processes. And so I have that background, just to circle back, that I know when I talk to somebody and I'm trying to consult on, okay, are there things that we have that we could help you with, or are there folks that could help you in the process? I know exactly where those kind of plug in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. So having that background, that legal background, and doing what you've been doing for a while now, what would be the one big takeaway, the recommendation that you would let all the lawyers out there know that your company could provide in terms of services or software, whatever it may be?
Yeah, I think that a good place to generalize would be to ask yourself, is there something that is such a pain point for you in your current practice? Or are there things that you feel you're spending a lot of time on that maybe there's a quicker, more effective solution? But truly, every client, every consultation I do, every person I talk to has there's a lot of generalizations, but there are different problems to solve for, right? And so I would start with what are the things that you feel like you're spending too much time on, or it's a pain point, and then, reach out to me. We can have a conversation about it, and I can see if there's something out there that you could be doing better or more efficiently, or, consulting with folks or maybe even think about adding resources for people that do that task all the time, instead of having to bounce back and forth between certain things and learning, to be an expert in every single area.
Yeah, I think for many of us, delegating or having some other way to do that is hard to give over, because I think many of us being A-types, you want to control the whole process and try to do it all. And you just can't. At some point, you have to outsource, whether it's to a staff person or someone outside, or technology or whatever it may be that's going to help facilitate those things. I know it's been a learning process for me too.
Yeah, for me for sure as well. But at the end of the day, once you start to see the value add and how much more you can do, and as an attorney, if we're billing hours, if we're, you can handle more clients, you can handle more work, more revenue. So it's a win-win-win.
I know we were talking about earlier about cases and stuff, but can you think of just one small example of maybe where you helped facilitate, make someone more efficient in how they were handling their practice?
Practice overall, like a specific case?
Or case, practice, whatever it may have been, that you brought resources to that person so that they could more efficiently accomplish what they needed to do.
Recently, even this morning I was dealing with this. I have a client that is at a point in the business where they need more consultants on a data governance side. So, like looking at this client deals with a lot of data, and so trying to figure out if they're in line with regulations in certain jurisdictions, and just getting a sense of where all the data is located. So they have this temporary need where they need more resources and people that are experts in handling data and data governance laws and data mapping, and kind of keeping a hold on that, to come in and clean everything up and have a process going forward and create a playbook, so that things are much better in line with what they need to be going forward. And so
Does this mean that they really have people saying, hey, how do you find these files and this sort of thing, basically?
Yeah, so right now the need is to have more folks helping with that, but once the process is clearly laid out, then they won't need all of those resources any longer. And so we're helping, provide those resources for them and get everything working and in place. And then going forward, they won't need all of those resources. If they grow even more, maybe they will, and they'll want to add somebody full time. But for now, they just need lots of consultants that are experts in this field. And so, that's something that we've been able to handle for them. On a litigation side, or, actual practice. So that's more of legal operations, or, like just other things that are related, more corporate side. But on the firm side,
processes maybe of how they accomplish things.
We set up playbooks for folks all the time on, if you've got this type of matter, these are the steps that, you should take in that particular case. We handle a lot of large document reviews. So if there's a matter where, people are using data more and more and more. I mean, if you look at the statistics, it's mind-blowing to see how much data people, you think about, we text more, we're emailing more, we're creating all of this data, even in our personal lives. So when a legal issue comes up, and I've seen it even in practices where traditionally there wasn't a lot of data, family law, probate, criminal law, where they, typically, like, you can still handle discovery through paper documents and exchanging things back and forth, but it's becoming increasingly a need across all different practice areas. So if you've got all this data to go through, and number one, you're not used to it, number two, not used to using the types of software where you go in and figure out if things are responsive, are they privileged, we can work out a workflow for that. What type of system we want to use. Do we want to incorporate, technology-assisted review, for instance, or computer-assisted learning, or generative AI? Or do we just want to have a lot of reviewers working on this because you want us to look at every document? And so we, I deal with that every single day. I have clients that have document reviews that, we need to help them work through.
So interesting. Are you talking about that there's systems out there, I guess AI, that does you could set up to do basic review of documents and then flag for certain things, so that then you bring in that lawyer to look at the specific ones if there's certain language or whatever criteria is set?
Yeah, and we're not at a point, and this is a big topic all throughout legal, is AI going to take over where we don't need lawyers, or it's going to, do their jobs for them? I don't know if we'll ever get to that point. I don't think so. But these systems aren't just full-on machine learning. Like, it's not, they could be, but it's not smart, it's not defensible. But there are different workflows that it assists human review. And so the human goes in and reviews documents to kind of feed the machine, right? And then it categorizes documents to bubble up the most responsive documents, the ones you want to look at. And because if your mind's looking on the same concepts of documents, you're going to focus more and be able to make, instead of going from topic to topic, document to document. And so in that instance, the machine is helping make the workflow more efficient, and you're supposed to get to a point, it typically happens on every single matter that we have this workflow, where the responsiveness just gets to a point where statistically you can prove that, it doesn't make sense to review the rest of the documents.
Oh, wow.
So it's assisted review instead of a full-on, like, computer coding all the documents.
Yeah, but that must like speed up your process by, I don't know.
100%.
Yeah, like you probably used to have a room full of lawyers that had to go through that, and now you can have this machine that goes through,
Absolutely.
and maybe you have one or two that review, or maybe even just one.
Yeah.
Changes the whole
Yeah. And
look
it keeps the cost down more, right? Because
for your
the
clients.
Exactly.
Good deal. So this has been pretty informative. Any final thoughts that you'd like to convey to our audience?
Just feel free to reach out to me. We cover a lot, so it's hard to talk about that in a short segment. I'm happy to connect with folks, and doesn't cost you anything. Just call me, and we're happy to have a conversation to see if there's anywhere that I can make recommendations or my company can help out.
What's the easiest way to get a hold of you?
Email or my cell phone.
So give us your email. We'll put it up on the screen.
Okay. It's Kristy.Bird at Consilio. It's KRISTY.BIRD@consilio.com. CONSILIO.com.
Kristy, thank you for educating us on this. And then maybe next time you can come back and talk about some of those crazy cases that you've helped on.
Sure. Thanks for having me.